Today on the CTV News at 5, emotional tributes to the man who helped build our province.
To create a better Alberta.
Canadians remember Peter Lougheed.
He's a mentor to us. He has been a phenomenal mentor to a generation of Albertans.
Plus, an inside look at the water bombers that were used to fight Monday's grass fires in southern Alberta. And how some Lethbridge students are saying thank you to local firefighters.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Across the country today, Canadians are remembering former Alberta Premier Peter Lougheed. He died yesterday in Calgary at the age of 84. As Janet Dirks reports, even political foes are showing their respect for the man known as the father of Alberta.
This was one of Peter Lougheed's final public appearances, gallant as always, as his wife Jean pointed out.
See, he helps me all the time.
This summer, a policy institute named Lougheed Canada's best premier of the last 40 years.
I was just thrilled with it when I heard about it.
Lougheed became Premier of Alberta in 1971, a champion of Western Canada and provincial rights, doing battle with Ottawa over the National Energy Program. He was key to the patriation of the Constitution, insisting on the notwithstanding clause in the Charter. While always tough, Lougheed remained respected and respectful.
I found him one of the most sensitive individuals, as well as intellectual individuals that I've ever met amongst the premiers.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper says he will miss a respected advisor.
This is the loss of a truly great man, and that is an overused phrase in our business and politics, but Peter Lougheed was truly a giant.
And he could have been Prime Minister himself, according to retired Senator Ron Gitter, who began his political career as an MLA under Lougheed.
They were coming out of Ottawa, the members of Parliament were coming. They were saying, please run federally, please go for the leadership of the party, and he would have won. But he always said no, because he felt he had the best job in Canada as Premier of the province of Alberta.
Albertans are remembering Peter Lougheed today.
He'll be sadly missed.
Peter Lougheed is survived by his wife, 4 children and 7 grandchildren. The family will be holding a private funeral, but a public memorial is being planned. Janet Dirks, CTV News, Calgary.
In Lethbridge, Peter Lougheed is being remembered as a miracle man who was as good at listening as he was at talking. The tributes are coming in from those who worked with Lougheed as well as those who watched from the outside of the political circles. Terry Vogt reports.
Peter Lougheed was a miracle man to me.
John Gogo almost speaks religiously when talking about Peter Lougheed, his former party leader who convinced Gogo to enter provincial politics in 1975, launching what would be an 18-year career as Lethbridge West MLA.
To my knowledge, all of the years I knew him, he didn't criticize anybody at the caucus table. He wanted to hear views from everybody.
Gogo says Lougheed was open and treated everyone the same whether they were in cabinet or not. Political scientist Peter McCormick says Lougheed's leadership style was one that generated enormous loyalty.
If you listen to the people who worked with him saying, what they always mentioned over and over again was he listened. He always consulted. I did a research project looking at how he managed that colossal landslide caucus of his in the Alberta legislature, and everybody I talked to said, Lougheed has never surprised us or ambushed us with a single announcement. We always know what he's going to do.
And what he did was put Alberta on the national stage, a politician who won landslides and large majorities by dominating politics from the center.
Circumstances such as the drought conditions that we face in southern Alberta today.
And while his fight over the National Energy Program is well documented, it was also the Lougheed government that took on landowners, environmental groups, and First Nations people to build the Oldman River Dam, a project to ensure a year-round supply of water for communities and farmers across southern Alberta.
And the Oldman River Dam was a very important issue for southern Alberta. So I just think he was the greatest guy on earth.
Among his many honors, Lougheed was presented with an honorary degree from the University of Lethbridge and also made an honorary chief of the Blood Tribe. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Lougheed also introduced the Heritage Savings Trust Fund and the Alberta Bill of Rights. His government also approved a bill by John Gogo to have schools officially recognize Remembrance Day. Dory's here with our first look at the forecast and some pretty nice conditions over the next few days, which is good because it's a busy weekend between the Parade of Homes, the Terry Fox Run.
Absolutely. There's a lot going on. Remember yesterday we were talking about the fact that there was a really good chance of seeing some Sunday showers. Well, that is now removed from the forecast because the area of high pressure has moved up significantly from the south, and that's going to give us that sunny dome for the weekend. Temperatures a little cooler for Saturday and Sunday, but still very nice conditions. I'll tell you all about it.
Thank you, Dory. Well, a man charged with first-degree murder in the death of a Vulcan senior made a brief court appearance today. Timmy Engel appeared in a Lethbridge courtroom via closed-circuit television from Medicine Hat. Engel is charged with first-degree murder and indignity to a human body. 77-year-old Otto Bunty-Luce was kidnapped from his home in Vulcan in January. His dismembered body was found a few days later in Clare's home area. The case was adjourned until next month to allow the Crown and defense some time to set a date for a preliminary hearing. Engel will be back before the courts on October the 12th. The Piikani First Nation is releasing few details about why they have suspended their chief. Gail Strikes with a Gun has been suspended for 30 days beginning September the 5th. Acting CEO Bridget Kenna says it was a unanimous decision, but council will keep their reasons confidential. Joanna Croshoe will act as chief and promises no disruption in services. And the chief of the Blood Tribe is urging band members to remain calm and to move forward despite racial comments posted on social media. Chief Charles Weaselhead calls the statements unfortunate, hurtful, and offensive. But he has issued a statement saying we cannot continue to dwell on negative statements. We need to move forward and deal with helping families that were displaced as a result of their fire. The band says some homes have been affected by smoke damage and dust erosion, and residents may not be able to return home for weeks. Chief Weaselhead says the tribe is focusing on restoration of the homes and getting the families back in. Well, for the first time ever, water bombers were used to drop fire retardant on grass fires in southern Alberta. But there's got to be more to them that meets the eye, more than just that red streak we see falling from the skies overhead. Our Daryl Rummold was at the tanker base in Pincher Creek today to find out more about them.
And go north. And the highest hazard is up here because this is all forest area.
They follow the province's fire risk from top to bottom.
This time of year, it's all come south. So we've got all of the heavy equipment is going to be down at this end.
Moments later, another of these massive water bombers makes its final approach. The wings still stained from a long season of battling blazes across the province.
Alberta has an idea that every tree is worth a value, so we protect them. And that only makes good sense.
Ralph Bork has overseen ground operations at the tanker base in Pincher Creek for the last 15 years. It's one of 13 and the southernmost station in the province.
Always, it's an adrenaline bump when we have things going. The rest of the time is boredom second to none.
On Monday, it was anything but. But it wasn't forest fires these tankers were battling, it was miles and miles of grass fire. Its cost, high, nearly $14,000 per drop. Its impact, immediate. And for those on the ground, priceless.
I think the chief actually used a quote, and he called it gasoline. The fuel that was involved is almost like flammable liquids. And, you know, when you're fighting something that's that volatile, any kind of edge we can get is something we need to consider using.
Oh, it's massive. They can do miles of, on a grass fire, they can do miles of fire line, and it takes the oxygen out.
The first step is to release a bird dog or lead plane to assess the size and risk. Below the nose on the bird dog is a forward-facing infrared camera. This gives the pilot an incredibly detailed thermal image of where the heat sources are on the ground, so they can give a better idea to the pilots in the air of where they're going to be dropping.
We'll come up with the strategies overhead of fire and sort out all the air traffic, make sure all the ground crews are clear.
The chemical used is 5 parts water to 1 part retardant and is all natural, mainly fertilizer-based. Many of the planes are former commercial craft that have been repurposed, tasked with keeping residents safe from the inferno that at times comes all too close. Daryl Rummold, CTV News, Pincher Creek.
An average tanker plane can carry up to 27,000 gallons of retardant. Officials say the fire season is almost over, but they are always ready. Lethbridge firefighters have also been working around the clock since Monday as they continue monitoring hotspots in the area. And Thursday afternoon, they received a visit from a group of students who wanted to say thank you. About 60 students from GS Lakey Middle School dropped off cookies at the Westside Fire Hall. The school says the group wanted to do something special for the firefighters who've been working so hard to protect their community. It's part of the Me to We program that encourages students to do good deeds for others. The firefighters say they're grateful, but they were just doing their jobs.
Something like this is great to show community support that we get from these guys when we go out to things like that. We know they're always there for us, but you know what? It's unfortunate that some of the times we do go, we don't have good circumstances, but this one turned out relatively well. Nobody got hurt, not much property was lost, so this was a great result for us.
Well, we did it last year, and I just thought of it. I thought of doing it again.
And when Josh came up with the idea, we said absolutely, we're all, and the whole group was on board with it. So we were just thrilled that we were able to do something and just to show appreciation for what these guys did this week.
And the students will be in Calgary in October for a Me to We conference. Lethbridge's Salvation Army has rolled out a new kitchen on wheels to serve Southern Albertans during emergencies. The mobile kitchen is one of 4 in the province that focuses on serving food and drinks to communities during disasters or search and rescue efforts. The unit has capacity to provide 2,500 meals a day. It was paid for by the Salvation Army's Legacy Foundation. Though today was the official unveiling, the kitchen was already used for first responders fighting wildfires earlier this week.
But they showed up about 20 to 4 in the morning, and it was just awesome to have them there. They were quite willing to, you know, cook breakfast and lunch and have it ready for us, and coffee. And the guys on the ground really appreciated having that out there.
We have 4 of these in Alberta, and when we get things like Slave Lake and the fire that we had here, although this is a little quicker, we can pull 3 or 4 of them together and really look after a bunch of people.
The mobile kitchen will also be used at various community events. And speaking of community events, women in Lethbridge are taking a stand against violence. Tonight, Women's Space is holding their annual Take Back the Night rally. It starts at 5:30 with speakers at Galt Gardens, and the rally will begin at 6:30 p.m. when the group will march through the downtown core to Lethbridge City Hall. And the 32nd annual Terry Fox Run is this Sunday. It starts at the Henderson Lake Picnic Shelter at noon. The national event has helped to raise over $600 million for cancer research. 84 cents from every dollar raised goes directly to research. On the markets today, the loonie closed slightly down, but still above parity with U.S. greenback. Here are the week's closing numbers.